back to the podcast. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what I feel is a huge need of my Minnesota Vikings, and that's wide receiver. And I'm going to talk about my top 5 wide receivers in the draft, and I'm going to give you the one that I think will be available at 23 and that Minnesota should pick. My number 1 wide receiver on the board is, I got to be honest, man, even though I'm a Michigan fan, I got to be honest, the guy that dominated a couple years back in Ann Arbor was Jackson Smith and Jigba. His dude is an absolute fucking like joystick. Like his route tree is pretty darn good. He's a miniature. He's not super small, but he's short and he has this shiftiness about him, and he doesn't drop anything. If you ask me about the other receivers, Olave that was there, Garrett Wilson and Jigba was the best one of the 3, and he showed at his pro day. He ran a 40 pretty fast. I think it was a 4.45, something like that. He showed that he's fast, and that in itself is going to get him drafted high. No, everybody knew he was a good receiver. They wanted to know if he was quick or fast, anything like that. He proved that. He showed how great he was. Let me stop for a second. If you guys hear the air in my room, I apologize, man. It's a hot one outside, and it gets hot up here in this apartment, man. So I had to put the air on a little bit, cool it down. But yeah, Jackson Smith and Jigba is my wide receiver 1. I'm not sure if he'll be like an outside. I think he'll just play slot because that's pretty much what he did. But he has wide receiver 1 game. I don't know if he'll be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL, but he is my wide receiver 1 in this class. He's that damn good. But just imagine if he was wide receiver 2 to Justin Jefferson's 1. That'd be crazy. But nevertheless, we have to dream. Unless some crazy shit happens in the draft and he just falls, which I doubt. My number 2 receiver, honestly, has shifted because I've done some more film on this guy, and that is Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers from Boston College. Like, this dude is fast. Like, he's a small guy, but he is fast, and he gets the ball in his hands, and it's murder she wrote. He's what Minnesota needs, a down the field, take the top off the defense guy. Now, some people say Minnesota didn't throw the ball down the field because of Kirk Cousins not throwing the ball down the field. But, dude, I watched a lot of Minnesota Vikings games, of course, right? There wasn't a lot of routes that was 40 yards down the field that they were doing. So, Justin Jefferson pretty much was the only one going down the field, and you don't even really need him to go deep. He needed to be a deep threat. He's so good at the line of scrimmage, just getting open, getting off of jam coverage and his route tree. So he's already open. So you don't really need to throw the ball 40 yards on the field. He's already open. KJ Osborne is not a guy you'll see as a deep threat. So I'm 100% sure if they go wide receiver, they're going to go with someone who can get down the field. Zay Flowers, to me, is that guy. Now, he's a small dude, so I don't know. Like, Tyreek Hill is an outside receiver as a small guy, but he also moves around, and he's super fast. Olympics track speed, Tyreek Hill. Zay Flowers is not that fast. He is not that fast. My phone was ringing. But he is a fast receiver, and it's tough to see where he's going to go because a lot of people like him. He's actually skyrocketing up the draft boards right now, so you really don't know where he's going to go. But a lot of people don't even have first round grades on these receivers, so it's kind of tough, man. But the back half of the first round, they're going to take guys if they keep falling. I hesitate on Minnesota taking him because we need a bigger receiver, in my opinion. And I don't know if Zay Flowers is that guy. So I don't know if they're going to choose him, but he is my wide receiver too. That dude, I did some more. I did film on that dude, and I was like, oh my god, like this dude, oh my god, like he's super fast. But he's not Tyreek Hill fast, but he is my wide receiver too. Number 3 is the guy I think they're going to draft. Let me take that back. I thought they were going to draft, and then I realized they did. Every team does their top 30 prospect visits, and he didn't. He's not on the Minnesota Vikings uh, visit list. But it is Quentin Johnston from TCU. Now, I watched this dude dominate the University of Michigan, and was it the I forgot what bowl game it was. It was a college football playoff game, and he was like, to be a wide receiver one and to know who he is, and for him to be as wide open as he was in that game really pissed me off. Like now knowing more about what happened, I know Minnesota freshman defensive back Will Johnson, Michigan's freshman running defensive back Will Johnson had got nicked up in that game, so he wasn't on him as much, and there was a lot of weird confusion it was weird. It was just one of those games. But if you watch that game, just turn on the film. He was running down the field like he has these weird long strides. He's not the smoothest, in my opinion, of receivers, but he is 6'4". He's 6'4", and when he gets the ball in his hands, he can make things happen. But he's not, to be 6'4", he's not a guy that goes up and plucks the ball out of the air, which is really weird. But he can, which is I don't know if he needs to, be taught that or what. He's 6'4". The dude can go get the ball. You go watch his highlights. There's some plays where he snatches the ball, but mostly he gets the ball in space. But it's the Big 12. The Big 12 don't play no defense, so he's pretty much open a lot. And what makes me weary about him, But it's tough, man. Like I don't know what they're doing and what they're looking for in a wide receiver, but he is 6'4". We need a guy, not an Adam Thielen's going in the red zone or down the field guy, and we haven't pretty much had that since Diggs. So I think he can be that guy. Again, if he's at 23, I'll take him. Zay Flowers at 23, I'll take him. And then my next guy, who's number 4, Jordan Addison, USC. He won the Biletnikoff Award the year prior, before he came to USC at Pitt. He was with Kenny Pickett. Pretty much most people think Kenny Pickett got drafted high because of him. Jordan Addison can run routes. He's a smooth dude. He's a dude also. You get the ball to him, and he can do some things with it. I think because he's on the Minnesota Vikings top 30 visitor list. Zay Flowers is not on it either, which is weird. But there also can be a smokescreen. We know how these dudes work in the NFL. I would draft Jordan Addison. I would, no hesitation. I would draft him. I would draft Quentin. I would draft Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison with no hesitation. Those are the 2 dudes I would draft with no hesitation. I would draft Quentin Johnston, but I would be kind of like, what's his route? That's the thing. I don't know. Can he run routes? Because TCU was pretty much like just run down the field, or one, he did a drag route against Michigan and there was nobody around him. But that's the only thing, man. Jordan Addison can run routes, and I would draft him. I would probably draft him before I draft for Quentin Johnston, but I think Quentin Johnston. Only reason why I have him higher than Addison is because of his 6'4" size, and you can't teach that size, dude. You just can't. Sidney Rice was a tall dude that we had with Brett Favre, and he was good for 1 year. But I think Kevin O'Connell, being the offensive guy that he is, Keenan McCardell being the wide receiver coach that we have, I think if they drafted Quentin Johnston, they could probably get him better at his route tree. And number 5, I know he's just ranked 5 because I did 5 guys. Jalen Hyatt of Tennessee, University of Tennessee. That offense is kind of spooky and weird, which is why I wouldn't draft Hendon Hooker, the quarterback. They scheme dudes open all the time, and you go watch that Alabama game. I've rewatched that game. I rewatched his highlights rather the other day, and he's pretty much running wide open a lot of these plays. And again, I don't know his routes. Like he's a fast dude, but he's not one of my favorite guys. I didn't really see anything super special. But I'm not an NFL person, so I don't think Minnesota is even looking at Jalen Hyatt, to be honest with you. But yeah, man, those are my top 5 receivers. I would draft Quentin Johnston 1. I would draft Zay Flowers 1, Quentin Johnson 2nd, Jordan Addison 3rd. But I think the Vikings will have Addison, Flowers, Johnston. That's how I see it. See y'all next time. Peace.